Oh, you are most welcome to another exciting review. In fact, the last review of the 7 habits of highly effective people. Yay! We made it. Yes. Now we're finishing what we started. Glory. I'm so excited, right? That feeling is incredible. It is awesome. If you attended this review all the way from the beginning till the end, let me know in the comments, right? So this is the last chapter that we're reviewing, and it says Inside Out Again. Inside Out Again. We have talked about this or touched on this, in previous chapters. And today, in this review, the author wants to remind us that everything, if you really want to experience the power of unity, oneness, you want to be proactive, you want to be a great interdependent person, you want to be able to synergize, you want to have correct principles, everything must flow from inside out. There are no quick fixes to your behaviors, to your attitudes, right? You cannot talk yourself out of the problems that you behaved yourself into. So if there is no change on the inside, then there can be no change on the outside. Otherwise, we are just going to be deceiving ourselves, and that cannot last. It is like using aspirin or whatever when you have headache. That headache must disappear, but it doesn't mean that you have treated the underlying cause of that headache, right? Or of that sickness that is actually making you have the headache. The headache may just be a symptom that there is a bigger problem. Ezra Taft Benson has this to say. He says, the Lord works from the inside out. The world works from the inside in. The world will take people out of the slums. Christ takes the slums out of people, and then they take themselves out of the slums. The world would mold men by changing their environment. Christ changes men, who then change their environment. The world would shape human behavior, but Christ can change human nature, right? So the author begins by telling us a personal story which contains the essence of this book, right? And in doing so, he believes and hopes that will relate to the underlying principles that his story contains. So he said that many years ago, he took a sabbatical leave so that he could write. So they went far away, somewhere in Oahu, in Hawaii. And then he and his wife, together with his family, started to change the way that they saw life, the way that they saw their relationship. And this was born out of the fact that one day, in his writing endeavors, he stumbled upon a book. And as he opened this book, his eyes went straight to a paragraph in the book that says something around, there is a gap or a space between stimulus and response. And that the key to both our growth and happiness is how we use that space. Let me paraphrase. There is a gap between stimulus, the cause of something, and response, how you respond to it. And the gap between that space, right, is responsible for our growth and our happiness or unhappiness or success or progress or, retrogression, whatever we choose in life. So our response in life matters a lot. So many things will come at us. You cannot change so many things in life, right? There are things that you cannot change, but you can choose your response to those things. You can choose how you react to them. Whether you react or you want to be proactive, you can actually choose that. And he said ever since he stumbled on this, he intentionally decided that he would spend more time with his family, with his wife. And so every day they would spend 2 hours just driving around the beach area talking. He was having real communication with his wife. He thought that they had a good marriage, but that experience opened both of them up. They were not afraid to be vulnerable with each other, just when you think that you know your spouse. But then the moment you decide to be open, to synergize with them, to cooperate with them, and not to seek your own selfish interest, you will see that so many things will be unleashed. So many things that you never knew existed. will start coming up. Some of the things that you have bottled up, you really did not understand why your spouse is behaving the way he or she does. But from what he said he started understanding each other. Things that will make him want to flare up, to say what that he shouldn't say. For example, his wife liked a particular appliance called Frigidaire. She liked Frigidaire appliances, and she would insist that it was that appliance that she must get. So they would have to drive so many miles away to go and get it. And he would be wondering, why can't we buy any of these other appliances? Must we buy Frigidaire? But he did not know that there was a story behind that. So for a long time, he was angry, he was pissed off anytime the issue of Frigidaire appliances, came up. Until this time, when he was on his sabbatical leave and they were on this beach, that the wife opened up that, you see, when she was growing up, there was a time her father was a teacher. There was a time of economic downturn. The father had to go through a very serious financial difficulty. So in order for him to keep up financially, to be able to take care of the family, he started selling appliances. Even the appliances were not really doing well. But it was Frigidaire appliances that gave his father the chance, to really do well financially. They financed his inventory. They were the one that helped his family to cope in the time of financial difficulty. And because he had a very strong, the wife, had a very strong bond with the father. Anytime the father came back from work, tired, she would rub his legs, she would tell him, she would sing to him. She had a very strong bond with the father. So it was from there that she developed this strong bond with Frigidaire appliances. And the husband, Stephen Covey, did not know until this time that they decided to be open with each other. It was an opportunity to be vulnerable, to say those things that were within, things that they've been hiding from each other. So the wife's attachment to Frigidaire appliances was not really about the appliances. It was about her father, her loyalty to her father, her love, for her father, and all of that. But they've been married for years, and he didn't understand that. So sometimes, if we really do not allow ourselves to change from the inside out, we will never be able to understand other people. We will think that only our own ways are correct. We will not take the time to know why somebody behaves the way he or she does. Right? So we really have to change ourselves first and foremost. And this will transcend generations, intergenerational living. Just as Stephen Covey and his wife Sandra discovered that wonderful year, the ability to use the gap between stimulus and response wisely, to exercise the 4 unique endowments of their human nature. It shaped them from the inside out. They saw themselves from a whole new light. So the inside out approach helped them to love each other more. It solidified the bond that they shared. It made their family to experience unity, synergy on a greater level. This is the essence of what we have been talking about since we have been reviewing this book. As an interdependent being, you must seek to understand people. You must seek to cooperate with them. You must seek to understand them before you try to be understood. If you want your relationship with them to be smooth, you must put aside your own selfish motives. You must put aside that ego that thinks that, it is only your own perspective that is right. You see, change yourself from the inside out. Let there be humility from inside out. Let there be patience. Let there be tolerance. There are no quick fixes to attitudes and behaviors when it talks about the principles that we have been talking about, right? And then what happens? You take this approach, you transfer it to your children. That's why this portion says intergenerational living. So it goes beyond you. It is about posterity. We've been talking about scripts. That many of us are living out the scripts handed to us, maybe by our parents, by our societies, by the people that raised us. and so on and so forth, right? And the way you are living out the script, there is every tendency that you hand over the same script to your children to say, oh, this is how my parents did it. This is how my parents brought me up. This is what the society says. This is what the tradition says. And then you hand it over to them, right? But there should be a renewed desire. You should hand over a script based on correct principles, not just the bad scripts that has been handed over to you. But how can you do that if you do not change yourself from inside out? Your parents influenced you, maybe not 100%. If you lived with your parents, they must have influenced your life to a very great extent. That means there is a very high tendency for you to influence your children as well. And this is the essence of changing from inside out, so that we don't influence them negatively. Some people are used to shouting, some people are used to screaming, insulting, abuse of all kinds, because that is the way they were raised by their parents. And that is the same thing they will hand over to their children, consciously, unconsciously, right? Negative scripts. But then there are also people who handed over beautiful and positive scripts to us that we took for granted because of the lack of self-awareness. We didn't even realize that, what this person is handing over is something that is worthy of emulation, right? So we really don't pay attention to that, because it was in the psychology of money that we learned that negative things, negative news, sell faster than the positive. If there is a case of RIP today, you see everybody commenting, oh, RIP, RIP, oh, so sad, oh, hey, yeah, look at what happened, look at what he did to his wife, look at what that woman did to her children, blah, blah, blah. But let's hear that, oh, somebody graduated from Harvard, the person, got 10 scholarships, the person, did a groundbreaking research and everything. It will not even get as many likes and comments as negative news. It's just something natural, right? But we must consciously focus on positive and beautiful scripts. We must act on them. We must allow them to change us. And this will depend on how we treat our family members. If you are married, how you treat your spouse, how you treat your children, how you relate with your siblings, your mom or your dad, if they're still alive, cousins, aunties, uncles, everybody synergizing, so that your children don't start seeing that division in your family. There are some families that the children don't see eye to eye. The children, they don't see their extended families, they don't see their cousins, they don't see their parents, siblings, eyeball to eyeball, because of the terrible script that has been handed over to them. But we must change the story, from the grandparents, great-grandparents, down to the least person in the family. We must synergize. There must be that unity. It is a powerful force in helping people have a sense of who they are and where they came from and what they stand for, not division everywhere. That's not what we want to see. But if you don't change from the inside out, it is almost impossible. You're just going to be treating the surface symptoms. You have to get to the root of the matter. If in your family there is so much division, there is so much conflict, then let the change begin with you. Right? Grandparents who show a great interest in their grandchildren are among the most precious people on this earth. They bring everybody together. God bless my late grandmother. She was that sweet. Very, very sweet woman. Very, very generous woman. I really cannot forget her in a hurry. She was not a Christian, but she was sweet. Thank God she gave her life to Christ shortly before she died. But then, oh my God, even everybody on the street knew her. If she's eating something and she just has a little, she will give you. She can sacrifice whatever for you. It was from her inside out. She wasn't faking it. Otherwise, she would not have faked it till a very old age that she died. She lived to a ripe old age. Those are the things that bring impact and fulfillment, not a life of self-centeredness. She tried to bring the entire family together, everybody together. I even consider her to be sweeter than my mom. Yes, and I learned so many things from her. The author even also remembers his own mom as well, that his mother is so sweet as well. She will write love notes to her grandchildren. Even as old as the author is, the mom will still write love notes to him. He said at some point he was reading one of them on the plane and tears were flowing down his cheeks. Right. Imagine a mother's love. I really want to start cultivating that habit. Just writing random love notes to my children, right? They just open their school bags and see love notes. Oh, hey Joy, I love you so much. I want you to always, remember this. Something like that. My daughter writes it randomly, and those love notes melt my heart. So it is something that I picked up from this chapter and I want to start cultivating. Right. The highest and most powerful motivation in doing that is not for ourselves only, but for our posterity. Posterity will judge. What are the scripts that you're handing over to your children? I just talked about my grandmother. She died in 2010, but her memory is still fresh in my heart. That is posterity. She lives on because of the good deeds that she did. Her generosity, her love, her kindness. That is what we're talking about. So becoming a transition person. She was a transition person. We too can become, you too can become a transition person. Amongst other things, the author believes that giving wings to our children and to others means empowering them with the freedom to rise above negative experiences, negative scripts that have been handed over to them. Right? If your parents abused you, you don't have to abuse your own children. There is every tendency that you will abuse them because you don't know any better, right? But if you are a proactive person, if you have been following these reviews, at least to say the least, you will know that no, you don't have to toe that lane. You have to change. You have to be an agent of change. You have to be an agent of transition. You have to bring positivity into the lives of your own children. So many times we are carried away. We are overwhelmed with work. We are tired. We have burdens. We have responsibilities. And so we don't even know that our attitudes are rubbing off negatively on our children. Right. So we have to consciously change that. Be proactive. If you say something that you realize you shouldn't have said, apologize to them. Let them know that you didn't mean to. You may be strict with them. Yes, nobody is saying you shouldn't be strict with them. But even in that strictness, let them know that you truly, truly love them. Right. And if your parents have abused you, forgive them. Show them love if they are still alive. And if they died while you're still holding them in your heart, forgive them. Release them, right? They didn't know any better. If they knew better, they would do better. A tendency that's run through your family for generations can stop with you. You can be the change agent. You can be that transition person. You're a transition person, a link between the past and the future. The change you want to see in your children, the division that you want to stop, the conflict that you want to end. Start being the change. It is not going to be easy, but you can do it. We read about the story of Anwar Sadat, and the story is recurring here again, how he became the transition person between the Arabs and the Israelis, even from the time that he was in prison. And through that, he changed the course of history for millions of people. That is what we're talking about. You may not be able to change for a whole nation, for millions of people, but at least begin with your nuclear family. And from then, it extends to your extended family. And from them to the community, to the society, and who knows, maybe to the nation, and from there to the whole world. Right? Real change comes from within. You can't do this if you don't change yourself from within. Change your paradigm, change your perspective, change the way you view life, change your attitudes and behaviors. Start working on them. If you are rude, if you are impatient, if you are self-centered, if you are proud, start working on yourself from the inside, little by little. It is not going to be easy, right? A life of character and total integrity, a life of love and service to other people is not one that is easy. A life of unity is not easy. A life of synergy is not easy, especially when you're amongst people that just don't want to cooperate. They keep frustrating all your efforts. But don't be weary in depositing into your emotional bank account. Before you know it, they will see it. Be consistent. Keep building trust with them. Keep trying your best. One day, they are going to realize it, right? Because it is possible. And it begins with the desire to center our lives on correct principles, not to pretending or faking anything. We need to strive to achieve unity, to achieve oneness with ourselves and our loved ones, our friends, our working associates, our church members, our mosque members, people in our neighborhood, as much as it is humanly possible. Even the Bible says, follow peace with all men. Follow peace with all men. Right? We make mistakes, we feel awkward. We start with the daily private victory. Walk from the inside out. Nourish your relationships, nurture them. And before you know it, you start feeling the excitement of real growth, that you are experiencing private victories. Without private victories, you cannot experience public victories, because public victories deal with other human beings. So if you have not won with yourself, won over your bad character, over those things that pull you down, you cannot win with other people. So how do you do this? Inside out, inside out, inside out, right? We must persist in doing things right. Emerson says, and I quote, that which we persist in doing becomes easier, not that the nature of the task has changed, but our ability to do has increased. Don't forget what we learned yesterday. Learn, commit, and do. Learn, commit, and do. Learn, commit, and do. Little by little is better than not doing at all. Little by little is better than waiting for that big dramatic moment when you will change and then you start doing the big things. Start daily. Put effort daily. Right. By centering our lives on correct principles and creating a balanced focus between doing and increasing our ability to do, we become empowered in the task of creating effective, useful, and peaceful lives for ourselves and for our posterity. Thank you so much. We've come to the end of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Right. It has been an interesting book. It has been so empowering, so refreshing, so enlightening. This book is a rare gift to us, right? And above all, the author is writing a personal note to us that some things will not be possible by your own power. You need to rely on the power of God. Sometimes we want to do good, but we find ourselves doing the opposite of the good that we want to do. Just like Apostle Paul says in the Bible, the good that I want to do, I find myself not being able to do them. The bad that I don't want to do, I find myself doing. So in that case, you need a power. You need a kind of power that is greater than yours. And that is the power of God, right? Don't rely on your own understanding. Talk to God to help you. If you're struggling with anything, God can help you. It can give meaning to your life. It can enable you to love, to serve, to learn, to commit, and do. Thank you so much. God bless you all. If you have been a part of this review from the beginning to the end, well done. Give yourself a pat on the back. Your willpower is strong. Your consistency and your persistence, are worthy of emulation. And if you have been on and off as well, we understand, right? And Jesus understands. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like this video, share your comments with me, and please subscribe to this channel in case you are yet to subscribe. I remain Alaide Agbaje, also known as First Lady. And on this channel, I inspire you to live intentionally. I'll come your way again very soon. Watch out for the announcements, in our mastermind group. Take good care. Until we see you again, be intentional. Bye.